Well, hello everyone. My name is Frank Lavinia, and I'm going to make sure my audio is working. Thumbs up if you can hear me. I am going to show you all um, just a little bit of DeepSeek R1, which has taken the world by storm, which I think is a bit of an over hype wave. I think would be a good way to put it. But let's get into it. All right. So while I have you here, it'd be great if you could like, share, and subscribe. Let me turn off that caption. I do have to go at a certain point to pick up my youngest from daycare. And this is quite annoying. Let's see. How do I turn off the settings? Let's change a different. There we go. That'll have to do. All right. So what I have here is I am SSH'd into my Mac, my M3 MacBook, where I am able to run DeepSeek using Ollama. So if I say Ollama list, you will see that indeed I'm using DeepSeek R1. It's not the largest model, but it is pretty big. And let's get Ollama to play with it. Now, this is only going to be like really the first um, Ollama run DeepSeek R1. It's only be the first of many videos I'm going to cover this. But one of the things that I find interesting, and I was talking to a colleague about this earlier today, um, is how, there we go, I got it. What's interesting about this is how it shows you its chain of reasoning, although I think that's a bit generous for an AI system, but you do get a little bit of its internal monologue, if you will. So by this point, we've all typed in queries where we say, hey, can you show me how to create show me some Python code that does X, Y, or Z, right? And it spits it out. However, what's interesting here, and let me, to save you the thing. So I'm basically going to ask it, can you help me write a Python app that accesses a weather API and then sends an SMS with the details. So watch what happens when I do this. So first off, you'll notice that it's actually pretty performant on the Apple Silicon. And what you're seeing here, and we'll go through and we'll dig through this with as much time as I have. But you'll notice right away, now it's finally doing the code. It's actually explaining it now. So what I find particularly intriguing about this, so let's go up here. So you'll see it has this think tag, which I guess is showing you kind of its internal monologue. It says, okay, I want to create a Python app that fetches weather data from an API and then sends an SMS notification. I'm not very experienced with APIs and sending SMS, so I'll have to figure this out by the way. First, I should think it works through kind of like how to do this. I find this interesting. They'll create an end file. It's important because I want to keep them secure. And it goes through here and it walks you through step by step explanation. So basically, because for all intents and purposes, kind of like your requirements documentation, it kind of works through the requirements. Then it kind of talks about the step by step of how to install the libraries and the environments. Then, and only then, does it provide you the code. And then, not to be complete, not to be outdone, it does an explanation of the code. So I find this very interesting. So I'm going to clear the session context and I can ask it another question. Can you tell me how to work out pi to 5 decimals? So it's thinking. And you'll see it does that. It talks to these different approaches. And then it's showing you how to do this. And let's see if it does an explanation here again. And clearly this is markdown format, which is interesting. There you go. So if I ask it again without clearing the context, you'll see it kind of gets confused. I realize I'm dealing with a, kind of a non-deterministic model here. Demos are a little challenging. All right, so there have been times where if you don't clear the context, it's like, well, it kind of mixes it together in its thinking, which does impact the results. Load.env. I think I just heard the fan click on the computer over there. But again, it doesn't just give you the answer. It tells you the steps by steps on how it does it. And then it gives you more information and things like that. But that's not really a big deal. So not by, clear. Actually, let's do by. And I'll do and let's run this again with let's say Llama 3.1. All right. So notice how it right away gives you the code. This is kind of what we've come to expect with large language models. See, and I did that. So let's see. All right, so it is doing kind of different methods and things like that. It's very similar, but I notice the code does tend to give you kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of like requirements document, if you will. So let's run DeepSeek again. And if there's any comments or suggestions you want me to do. Now, I want to point out for those that are wondering, like, hey, aren't you worried about privacy? Always worried about privacy. But this is running on my machine, on my local network. To my knowledge, is not going out and pulling in information or sending, phoning home to the CCP in terms of what's going on. So again, I don't have a packet sniffer checking that, but this is running entirely locally and I'm not using the web service. All right, so if I were to now ask another question, can you write an Python script that, I don't know, any ideas? Queries the YouTube, pulls down subscriber count, pulls down transcripts from YouTube videos using the API. So it does. So you see it's doing a think here. It's an interesting turn of phrase. I remember hearing that the YouTube has an API called the YouTube Transcripts API. And it's basically structuring the script. It's describing the structure in the script. And it's doing this. And now it's putting it all together. It's basically walking through almost in a tutorial fashion. I do find the choices of words, like I remember hearing, very curious. And here's the code. And do that. So I do have to jet, but I didn't want another day to go by. I was so proud of myself when I got this running locally. You can see I had this running almost 48 hours ago, and I've been meaning to do a live stream ever since. And there we go. But definitely check it out. Runs great on Apple Silicon. We'll see how this goes, but I mean, it is an open source model. You could pull this down, run it on old Llama. You can even run it on, I actually have it on that box running on Anything LLM as the client. So you can kind of like work with it that way. It's an interesting concept. I'm fascinated by the decisions that were made to train it this way. So it kind of gives you well, it looks like you're doing this. It's almost more human in that sense. Like if you did go to like your cousin or your brother or your sister or your aunt, your mom, your dad, that's so really weird. You say, hey, I want someone to build this for me. Like, and you would expect them to kind of walk through. Okay, I think you want to do this. I think you want to do this. It's very, very real feeling. I don't know how to describe it. All right. So with that in mind, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All that good stuff. Been having a good run of late on YouTube, and I want to keep the momentum going. If you check out some of the shorts on my channel at franksworld.tv, brought you to the YouTube channel. I have a couple that have been taken off. I've found a way to synthetically generate SpongeBob, Squidward, and Snoop Dogg and Gordon Ramsay's voice. And Nay, if you want, can teach you a little bit about AI in little 30 to 60-second clips. Been having a lot of fun with them, and they've been getting a lot of traffic. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and check it out. As for me, I have to go pick up the littlest. Have a great day.